Good job, buddy.
Hey everybody, Clayton Stark here. Today we got something we're going to go over. Question submitted from a viewer, topic that really needs addressed on one of my Patreon posts. As always, on my Ultimate Coonhound Puppy Training Series on Patreon, where I teach everyone how and why I do the things I do with my puppies all the way through finished dogs. Just to share some things I've learned over the years, help some of you out. It brings up a lot of good topics and questions, and this person on my Patreon page submitted a question that I wanted to expand upon and share with you, because this is something I see over and over and over again. And if you really just follow some of the things that I go over in my Patreon pup series, it negates basically all of this, and I just wanted to share this with you. Printed out his comment. We're going to go over that here real quick. So he says he has an 8-month-old dog that gets all stressed out in the box. She slobbers everywhere and vomits sometimes, so when he takes it to the woods, trying to teach it how to hunt, it is stressed out from the get-go and vomiting in the dog box. Obviously, that's not a good way to teach something that it is going to enjoy doing if it's first exposure, and as soon as it starts, it's vomiting. That's not a good start. By the third drop of the night, not excited anymore and has no interest in doing anything. So that is also not good. You never want to do anything to the point where a dog loses interest. And that's not just coon hunting, that's basic obedience and everything to do with a dog. You want to make sure that if you can, always end on a positive note, always take one step forward, and always, if you're ahead, just quit right there. Don't do too much. Don't risk setting the dog back or giving it a bad experience. Says doesn't run with the old dogs on the first drop either yet. Just got her a month ago. Didn't get to do a lot of the stuff I'm talking with. We'll talk a little bit more about my thoughts on hunting young dogs with older dogs in a little bit, but just to continue going over his comment about her getting stressed in the box, wants to know what he can do. If you are on Patreon, you've already seen my video where I talk about how and why I crate train my dogs. Some of you out there might wonder why it would be beneficial to crate train a coonhound for coon hunting. And if you've been following my Patreon pup series, you would know what my answer is going to be and why I do what I do. But if you have a dog that's getting sick in the box, this is why the crate training episode of my puppy series on Patreon is so important. And a lot of you out there might wonder why crate training a dog would be beneficial in this situation, but I just want to let you know that a crate or a dog box is essentially the same thing to the dog. It's an enclosure with walls and a door, and it goes in there and it should feel comfortable in there, and if you do it the right way, it's actually a safe place for it. And if you do that first, then when you start taking it in a vehicle and making very short, easy trips, it teaches the dog to be comfortable, it's less stressful, and that's why I recommend crate training. And if you want to know how and why I do that and go into further detail, it's in my pup series on Patreon, so just join Patreon. It'll be in the link below. Just click the link below and you'll see my Patreon page. But that's how I would address that part of this question about a dog getting sick in the box. Very, very common, yet very uncommon to see people actually be preemptive and work to prevent it from happening in the first place. They kind of wait for the problem to present itself and then try and diagnose it, and by then it's already an issue. And in my experience, it's always best to prevent a lot of things from happening before they actually start, especially when you're dealing with coonhounds and young dogs. Next part of his comment, he said that the guy that had him before him had her going really good barking at a caged coon around 5 months of age, and then he laid her up for 2 months and just wanted to see what she would do after that. And that is something that really inspired me to make this video, because I see that all the time. People will take a tiny, tiny puppy, and it might even be the same size or smaller than the raccoon, and they shove a live raccoon in its face in a cage and really risk the chance at scaring the dog and having a major setback. And it's also not usually a good thing. People just like to see a dog bark at a coon, and they think that that's what you do. And in recent years especially, I don't use caged coons at all when I'm raising my pups. There's no reason to with the way I do it. I use hides and scent and lay drags that I'll get into in my pup series later on. But if I'm starting a dog, there's really no reason at all to use a caged coon, and it always, in my experience, will bring up more issues than it does actually solve or do anything positive for the dog. Especially a 5-month-old dog, that's usually way too young to be messing with something like that. And in my experience and what I recommend people do, if you have no idea what you're doing, somewhere between 6 and 8 months of age, that's when you start thinking and worrying more about hunting. But before 6 months old, you should be teaching the dog its name. You should be teaching it how to ride in a box. You should be crate training it. You should teach it what a collar is. The dog should know its name. It should know how to recall. It should know all these basic obedience stuff before you start worrying about hunting. And people ignore it completely, and it makes zero sense to me. If you are going to be training and raising a dog for the 6 months of its life, you could be so much further ahead for yourself, for the dog, and compared to other people. If it knows its name, knows how to come when called, knows how to be tied up on a leash, knows how to be tied up in the yard, knows what a kennel is, knows what a crate is. There is a million things that you could be doing a little bit at a time every day to make that dog better before you even start thinking about the woods. Then, usually in my experience, between 6 and 8 months old, a dog will mature enough and start showing you signs around the house or in the yard that it's getting kind of gamey and maybe a little more aggressive and barking and just more inquisitive with the world around it, smelling and wanting to explore more. Once it starts showing some of those signs, then that's when we'll talk about what we actually do from that point on when it comes to going to the woods or doing scent drags and stuff like that. But I just want to address a couple of those issues because that is something I see all the time. And people like to talk about stud dogs and all these puppies, and dog has 2,000 puppies on the ground and all the percentages and stuff. And really, in my experience, there's probably less than 10% of people out there that actually raise and train coonhounds that do very much with them when they're young and they're puppies. So there's not really a high percentage of these dogs that get a full fair shake. Some of them do, and they go on to make really great dogs. Not just talking about competition hunting or pleasure hunting or that whole debate. I'm talking about just making a good coon dog. So that's just a few key mistakes I see over and over again, time and time again. People be getting a young dog, starting a young dog, and they ignore all the basic fundamentals and foundation of raising a young dog. Obviously, this viewer did not do any of that. This is something that he inherited and got from the previous owner. This is also why, in my experience, I don't usually recommend buying a dog that's not a puppy. If you have the funds and you can go hunting with the dog and buy a finished dog, which is very hard to do nowadays for most people, me included, which is why I will never go buy a finished dog. Also don't enjoy hunting someone else's work. But if you have the money, you can go buy a finished dog and know exactly what you have if you get to hunt with it first. Or just get a puppy and start from scratch and do it yourself. Most of the time, in my experience, if you get a dog that's 5, 6, 7, 8 months old and someone else was messing with it first, they're getting rid of it for a reason. They probably had no idea what they're doing or don't like the dog, and they did something that probably screwed it up, and they're just passing off their problems on someone else, hoping to get a little bit of money back. So in my experience, unless you know someone that's really reputable and respected and has a great reputation, do your homework. I would not get a started dog really ever. I personally prefer getting a puppy and doing everything I lay out in my puppy series from day one, teaching it its name, everything we talked about, all the way until it's 6 to 8 months old. Then we worry about hunting. Because in my experience, there's very few people that actually know what they're doing when it comes to raising a young dog, which is why you see so many people just buying dogs and using them. But if you're new or wanting to get into this, it is very, very affordable to do, especially if you know the right people. Compared to buying a finished dog, people are spending 30 to 60 grand on finished dogs now, which is not very intelligent in my opinion. But you can, for $500, somewhere around there usually. People might laugh at that, but I go to Automokes every year, and there's well-bred pups there for $500 or so. I actually brought one home. $500, great pup, bred out of this world. You just have to go out there and look. They're not around every corner. Be patient, do your homework, and if you get something that is bred well, that it's a puppy, and you have some experience or you listen to some of my advice, and as always, if you're on Patreon, if you have a question, send me a message, comment, I'll get back with you, give you my opinion, my input, try and help you best I can. But if you're the one doing it, starting from scratch, more times than not, you will be happy with what you have because it is your product, it is your dog, it is those bonds and memories that you made together with those dogs. It's not someone else's junk that they're trying to pass off on someone else. And I want to save some of you out there, especially if you're new or young and getting involved. I don't want you to spend a bunch of money and get a dog that is going to not be what you want it to be, because I actually care about coon hunting and my children being able to coon hunt generations from now. And if we want coon hunting and hunting with dogs to stay around, we need to quit screwing people over out of money, just out of a dog. So be responsible people out there. Don't take advantage of young people or new people if you're watching this. Have some self-respect. And if you're just getting involved with this, just do your homework, use good judgment, get a puppy, raise it the way you want to, and everything will turn out fine. Just want to address that issue. We're going to make more of these videos. Like I said before, with my Patreon puppy series, it's 52 episodes. We just did episode 8. We're going to be filming episode 9 next. Episode 8 was recall. We've went over everything from how to pick a puppy, why I pick a puppy, what crosses to look for, what to avoid, making up your mind of what you want and why you want it in a dog and how to find that. We go over raising a dog in the house. We go over raising a dog outside in the kennel. We go over teaching basic obedience. We go over teaching a dog its name, how to ride in a box. Everything that you need to know so far leading up to going to the woods we've covered, and we got a lot more coming out. And as I'm making that, I'm getting some really great topics and questions that I see all the time. And it's not just other people. I've experienced it firsthand. I've been doing this for over 30 years now, and I've seen all of it. I've experienced all of it. I've dealt with all of it. And I'm trying to help some of you out there avoid some of these mistakes, save some money and some headaches. So if that interests you or you like these videos, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to join in on this and get involved with this, submit questions and see this series. Each video is about 20 minutes long or so. I highly encourage you to click the link below on my Patreon page and become a member today. Great. We're doing a new podcast series on there too. There's over 2,000 members on there now. There's around 2,000 posts on there. It is basically like Facebook. It's a feed that you can go through, has videos, photos, podcasts, everything you can think of when it comes to hunting with dogs, some behind the scenes stuff, really great stuff. So if that interests you, check it out. So thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.